Vibrant Africa is brought to you by Africa Safari Connection, your partner in networking excellence. My name is David Batsoffen, and I'm joined today by Laura Schoeman from, is it pronounced Berluda, Laura?
Beluda is fine, yes.
Great. So good morning. Welcome to you. Welcome to Vibrant Africa. Lovely to chat to somebody down in Oudtshoorn again. It's my ancestral home, Oudtshoorn. My father was born.
Wonderful.
Hmm. So
Wonderful. Was he one of the Jews, one of the feather barons?
indeed, well, he wasn't a feather baron, but we had relatives there who were, and who may still be there for
Fantastic.
all I know.
Oh, wonderful. No, it's really nice to be here with you guys, David. Thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to spending time with you.
It's only a pleasure. So let's chat through what Beluda is all about. Let's talk through that.
Great. So, Beluda is a family farm.
Right.
The Schoeman family has been on this land for about 10 generations.
Wow.
So the first Schoeman came originally from Germany, Schumacher, and they landed in the Cape, in Cape Town in around 1732. And his son was the first to receive land back then out in the wilderness. And they cultivated this land over 10 generations. And today we still have the family farm, and we still have the privilege of farming here and continuing this heritage from our forefathers.
Now, is it a working farm that Beluda is on?
Correct. So my father-in-law was a small farmer. He had a few cows, milking cows. He had some tobacco. Their main speciality in the 1950s and 60s was seed farming. So they
Oh,
cultivated onion seed, beetroot seed, and pumpkin seed, for example. So that was their main speciality that was exported. That was the beginning of a very, very prosperous seed farming industry that is still very active in the Karoo area where we live.
yeah.
So it was my husband that really started with the ostrich farming. He was
Right.
interested in ostriches. He just has a passion for them. And since he was about 22, 24 years old, he's been farming with them. And yeah, today we can look back, and it's been a very adventurous and a very interesting journey. Uh,
Mhm.
Ups and downs through the
I,
industry, but we can say today that yeah, we look back on some really good memories and successes and failures, and yeah, but
that's
good times.
that's wonderful. Just as a matter of interest, and before we go on, I take it this is one of the rooms that you have on the farm for letting
Correct.
out. Can you train an ostrich to become a pet? I mean, do you have one or
Um,
two that sort of wander around in the house and eat your cornflakes in the morning?
well, in the 1900s, when the feather industry was at its height, in
Mhm.
the town of Oudtshoorn, there were some farmers that domesticated their ostriches.
Really?
But farming with them, I wouldn't recommend it, and we haven't tried it.
And you don't give them names.
No, we have too many. Unless you have 25,000 names for us. No, we don't give them names.
Fair enough. Talk to us about the accommodation. What can people who come and visit with you at Beluda expect?
Right. So this specific image is of the original farmhouse where my husband grew up with his siblings and his parents. So we have 8 luxury rooms at the farmhouse. Right. So apart from the farmhouse, we have another cluster that
Mhm.
today are our self-catering cottages. We
Okay.
have 8 of them, so they can accommodate families up to 5 people. They have a kitchen and a braai area and a beautiful patio with views of the Swartberg Mountains. And then the last cluster that we acquired just before lockdown is our mountain manor. We have 14 luxury rooms there now.
Right.
We have 4 swimming pools spread out, beautiful gardens. Don't know if you can see a bit in the background here. So yes, we have quite a and stretched out accommodation establishment here, and that's where we can accommodate about 75 people in total.
been a pity, as you were saying, you just acquired this beautiful manor to open to the public, and like the rest of us, came March 2020, and the world as we knew it came to a grinding halt.
Yeah, it was not funny, but we survived.
Yeah.
And now we can look back and be thankful. It was tough times. Also, a lot of our workers suffered. A lot of our employees had to find other jobs. So it
Mm.
was not a nice period. In time, a lot of people suffered in South Africa throughout the world. So we were definitely not the only ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we survived because we had before COVID, we had saved up and we had really
Okay.
looked after our finances, and I
Yeah.
think that helped to get us through that. Yeah, it was not easy, but we survived.
I don't know about you, but I look back on those times every time it comes up in a Facebook memory and I go, did I really do that? 11 times around my garden is a kilometer. And I did that how many times a week?
It was crazy
Yeah.
times. Yeah, all the rules and regulations, and now we
Yeah,
can't think that we actually did it.
that we actually got through it without
Yeah,
open-toed shoes. But we'll leave that for another time and another conversation.
absolutely.
What can people do aside from just, I suppose, chill at your pool? What is there to do in and around the area that you sort of serve?
Whew. So on the farm, we have two activities that attract the guests and that we offer to them. The one is the
Right.
meerkat tour. In Dutch, they say stokstaartjies, and in German, they say Erdmännchen. So yes,
Okay.
those meerkats, we have wild meerkats in
Mhm.
the veld in our
Yeah.
small game reserve. Families that a couple of families, and some of them are they're not tamed; they are in their wild environment. So
Yeah.
what we do is we take the game viewers in the mornings, and we actually go and sit at their barrows and wait
Mhm.
for them to emerge in the morning, and then the guide will introduce you to these to the family, and some at the moment they've got little ones, so it's an amazing experience. We also have some game in the reserve, so
Mhm.
guests can see some antelope species and a few other things that I won't tell now, because it's always a surprise for the guests to see it.
This is what it should
um
be. You don't want to give too much away. I want people to visit
exactly.
with you to go, why didn't David tell us what there was to see? Or why did Laura
Yes.
just keep stuff a secret? But just to see with your moorcats, as I call them, they are the most
Yeah.
inquisitive bunch. And if you just sit still, they will clamber all over you just to try and figure out what you are. And they don't mean any
Yeah.
harm. They just wonder
Yes.
if you've come into their space, they want to introduce themselves to you.
Yeah, so these ones of ours, they are not that tame, if you
Right.
want to use the word. They stay in their barrows and they clean their
Okay.
home in the morning, and before they go out to find food. So we don't interact with them in that sense. But
Okay.
absolutely, yes. The second activity that we offer on the farm is something very unique. I don't think there's a lot of people that offer that. So what
Mm.
we do is we take the guests that stay with us on an a tour of
Mm.
our working ostrich farm. So
Oh,
we can
wow.
explain them from the incubator, from the day when the breeding birds lay the eggs, to
Mm.
the moment the chicks incubate, to the moment where we, slaughter them for the term. I know it's terrible, but
No, it's
we
what
cultivate
happens.
them for the meat, the
Mm.
skin, and the feathers.
Right.
Yeah, and so we take them through that whole process, tell them about the products, tell them about the industry. Obviously, we have inside info about the industry that you won't find on Google or in books.
Right.
So we can really tell them what's happening, where it's happening, and ostrich. Oudtshoorn is the ostrich capital of the world. So the co-op, the CKI, which is the
Mm.
Kleinkode International, is the company that markets and processes our products.
So
So
is there still a
they are
market for
settled
ostrich
in Oudtshoorn.
feathers, Laura? Sorry to talk over you.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
is there a market for ostrich feathers still
Whew.
other than feather dusters? I mean, back in the day, in the
Yeah.
early 1900s, they had feather boas and they were used in high-end fashion, but that doesn't seem to be what's done with them anymore.
Yeah, but I'm sure everybody saw Lady Gaga during the Olympic opening. in
Ah, true
Paris.
enough. Yeah.
So where do you think those feathers came from? They came from Oudtshoorn.
Really?
Um, yes, absolutely, very true, David. Back in 1900, when the ostrich or the feather industry was at its height,
Mm,
the farmers only made money from the feathers.
right.
They didn't process the skin at that stage, and also nobody knew about the nice meat. So
Mm.
that only came much later. But today things have changed, and we're making about 40% from the income for the farmers is from the feathers, actually, almost
Oh, okay.
40%. So the main, yeah, as again, I don't want to tell too much, but the main markets for our feathers, I don't think you would guess. Do you want to give it a try?
I was going to say probably the Asian market for some reason.
They do take a lot of feathers, but our main market is Rio, Carnival.
Oh, for Carnival. So
Exactly.
Oudtshoorn features in the Rio Carnivals. What a wonderful
Exactly.
story.
So the Carnival, yes, and also in Paris and Venice for the cabaret, you
Mm,
can the Moulin Rouge and all those places you
yeah.
can visit. That's also a big market. But then feather dusters, as you mentioned earlier, it's very popular. Yeah, souvenirs from to take away
Yeah.
with from Oudtshoorn.
I would love to do a story, follow an ostrich feather from your farm, just one feather. We'll label it
Uh,
and then we follow it on its journey to wherever it ends up.
it would
But
be very
that's for a
interesting.
different chat and a different time. But bear that in mind. You may get a phone call going, "Can I have a feather, please?"
Absolutely, we can chat.
Is this one of your self-catering cottages?
No, this is the Mountain Manor.
Oh, okay.
This is one of my favorite parts of Beluda. So it's four separate buildings on this on these between these gardens,
Mm,
and this is where the mountain that the manor that we acquired just before COVID. So
right.
that was the tough part. We've now renovated all the rooms, and it's beautiful. It's against the backdrop of the Swartberg
Mm.
Mountains. People can hike in the mountains there. It is so peaceful, so tranquil. So yeah, if people want to get away from everything, there's no traffic, there's no noises, only the birds. And we sometimes have small antelope in the garden, tortoises, hare, yeah, all
Mm.
kinds of life. So it's a beautiful part of the guest house.
You don't have to go to them, they come to you, basically.
Something like that.
Just as a matter
Yeah.
of interest, and I'm always keen to know when you did your renovations, did
Mm.
you come across old newspapers or something like that that you were unaware of, maybe under a floorboard or in a ceiling space that was from back in the day that told you that, I don't know, that a motor car cost a rand 75? You know, that type. I know that I'm being silly now, but that
Oh
type
yeah.
of.
So I wish
Mhm.
there were talks of diamonds being hidden in some of the attics or some of the
Oh,
floorboards. So sure, I still hope that we can discover them when we do the renovations. But up to now, nothing.
nothing.
Sorry.
Not even a newspaper.
No,
I take it
no.
this is the view from your property or from up on one of the mountain ranges.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, you can actually see the cluster. So here in the foreground, you can
Yeah.
see the eight cottages. A little bit further down, almost in the middle of the picture, is the main farmhouse with our restaurant where we serve our dinners and breakfasts with the eight bedrooms. And just to the left on the around the corner is the mountain manor. So that is part of the farm in the valley of Schoemanshoek, just outside of Oudtshoorn, on the way to the Kango Caves. That's the
You,
beautiful valley we live
you
in.
know, Laurie, I was talking just the other day to somebody here in Johannesburg and saying that we have no idea how beautiful this part of our country is. You know,
Mm.
everybody rushes up north, they go to Kruger or they want to go to
Mm.
the coast and then they go to the Indian Ocean because the water's warm. But this part is almost a hidden gem. And I wish for two things. I want more people to come and visit with you guys and in that area. And on the other hand, I want less because I don't want this to be spoilt by an influx of end of year tourists and then nobody can get in. But these are beautiful, beautiful spaces. You mentioned Kango Caves, spectacular, found by
Mm.
accident. Um,
Absolutely.
Swartberg Pass,
Mm.
spectacular.
Stunning.
And
Mm.
and it's a scary pass to drive, but if you know what you're
It is
doing, it's
quite.
not that scary. Specifically going into DL, you want to stay away from there. But there is so much to do, as you mentioned. But then again, you can just stay in the guest house, stay at Beluda, and enjoy the space. Take a book, disconnect from the Wi-Fi, from your cell phone, and just have a wonderful time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As I said, peace and tranquility, that's probably the word we hear the most when people arrive here and stay here.
Right.
Yeah, and as I said, there's so much to do in Oudtshoorn. Yeah, but we don't want the word to get out.
I didn't imagine how many museums there were in Oudtshoorn. I know the main museum is in the old school building, the C.J.
Correct.
Nell Museum. And I know that
Correct.
that's where my dad went to school.
Yeah.
And I know one of the old synagogues has been rebuilt in that building because in the early days,
Correct.
as you mentioned, it was the feather capital of South Africa, if not the world. And a lot of the early Jewish population from Europe settled in Oudtshoorn and its environments.
Absolutely. The Jewish history is very rich in Oudtshoorn.
Yeah.
At the turn of the century, we had over 200 Jewish families that settled in Oudtshoorn
Right.
and made their money from the feathers and all that. They were very good merchants. And actually, Oudtshoorn was called Little Jerusalem at some stage with all the Jewish settlers here.
Now, this image interested me because it looks like in the foreground is a lounge, because those
Exactly.
armchairs are so cool. They really and truly are. People forget how they used to build furniture, not with a
Really
screwdriver
Art
and an
Deco.
Allen key, but proper.
Yeah.
So what is the space that we're looking at?
So this is one of our luxury cottages. Yes, that's my Art Deco collection. So I love antiques. It's really it's more a weakness than anything else. And those are one of my finds. So it's the luxury cottage. They can accommodate up to 4 people, 2 spacious bedrooms, spacious bathrooms with jacuzzis and everything, braai on the stoep, and there's a kitchen at the back. And people can just relax here for a weekend with friends, with family. Yeah, so those are our cottages.
You mentioned your ostriches, and they go from birth to death on your farm, sort of from crop to plate. Can
Yeah.
people purchase some of your ostrich meat to put onto a braai while they're staying with you guys?
Absolutely. We always have ostrich in stock, but we also do our own braais in the evening. We alternate. One
Okay.
evening we braai, one evening we have a sit down dinner, and people can enjoy ostrich meat on the grill. They can enjoy venison from our game reserve. So we try to bring the local to their plates.
That's wonderful. The pictures on the wall, they all tell a story. And I'm assuming, rightly or wrongly, that they relate to your family.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is the forefathers of the Schoemans that settled settled in Schoemanshoek many years ago. So I don't know them all by name, but we are actually busy with the history. My mom-in-law is helping me with that because she knows a
Okay.
lot of the old stories. So we are busy writing down the whole story from Germany all the way to our current generation. But here on the right-hand side, you can see my father-in-law in his onion field where they cultivate the onion seeds. And yeah, so it's a lot of wedding pictures of my mom-in-law's parents, and yeah, so it's
Okay.
the part of the Schoeman family.
Now I know because I've looked at your website that there are children, your children. Are they showing an interest in remaining on the farm, or have they gone, hey, mom, dad, thanks very much for this upbringing, but we're going to become rocket scientists or doctors or IT specialists or something?
Sure, yeah, that's always the I think the stress that parents go through. Do the children really want to continue what you've built up?
Yeah.
And we never expected anything of them. But my oldest son is already on the farm. He's 22 years old now,
Okay.
and he's he loves the farm. He takes a lot of responsibility, also from his dad, although he's far from retired. But it's nice to have the children that are interested and really have a passion for it as well. And also my eldest daughter is 20 years old. She's still studying, but she's already coming in with the youngsters, the new generation Z with their social media skills. So she's already helping a lot there. So it's nice to have the children, joining us and sharing
Mm.
our passions. The youngest one is still at school, but if he's here on the weekend, my goodness, you never see him. He's on some kind of machine, doing working in the field. So they all
That's
have
what
a
see,
passion for
that's
it.
what the urban youth don't get to enjoy. All
I
they do
know.
is they hunch over their electronic devices and they never look up. They would
Mm.
walk into a pole if they had half the opportunity.
Yeah, it's
You
so
mentioned
sad.
earlier that there were seemed to be a lot of pools on your property. Who does all the maintenance?
Mm. Um, it costs a lot of money, but I think
Yeah.
the pleasure it gives to the guests, it's well worth it. This is the pool at one of the pools at the Mountain Manor, so
Yeah.
you can see at the back just the views and
Mm.
it's just gardens and hills behind that. So yes, and of course, Oudtshoorn has got 300 sunny days a year, and our average temperature is 31 degrees.
Yeah.
So if the guests come and ask us if we have a heated pool, we just look at them and we
Like
think no,
why?
not in Oudtshoorn. Yeah.
Um, I was going to say, aside from all of this, can people mountain bike in the area? You mentioned hiking. I suppose there are trail runs that they can go on. So it's not necessarily Big Five country. But I suppose if you
Mm,
took mountain biking and hiking as part of a Big Five experience, then
mm,
your property is ideal for that.
absolutely. Yes. So because Oudtshoorn is so safe,
Mm.
and there's so many mountain passes around. It's very popular among mountain bikers. So
Right.
definitely they bring their bikes, they cycle up the Swartberg Pass, they sometimes cycle all over it. We have lots of roads on the farm where they can mountain bike, also in the
Mm.
area. Also, the locals are very keen on mountain biking. So absolutely, trail running. We have a couple of organized trail runs in the area. Now in November, we have the Traverse here up through the Kango Caves. It's quite a popular one. So yes, there's a lot of activity going on for sure.
Right.
And because it's safe and so beautiful here, people really enjoy it.
You mentioned the Kango Caves again, and we did allude to them a
Mm,
little while ago. There's also a farm. Is it the crocodile farm that's near the Kango Caves, where
correct.
people can go and have a look at crocodiles and check them out as well? Because I know that often the offcuts from the ostrich farmers end up at the croc farm feeding the crocs. So the circle
Exactly.
of life is completed.
For sure. So the crocodile farm is unique in that it offers as far as I know, the only
Mm.
crocodile dive in the world. So people can go down in a cage and swim with the crocodiles. So that is the one unique feature. And it also, um, if you want to touch a cheetah, you actually want
Mm.
to, walk with them.
Interact, yeah.
You can also do that at the wildlife ranch. They have, they never quite tame, but
Mm.
cheetahs that you can actually interact with.
Yeah.
So that's the other experience that's really unique there.
I think what people don't realize is how big a cheetah actually is when it's standing right next to you. Those legs are
Yeah,
incredibly long.
yeah, and
Yeah.
strong.
And
Yeah.
strong. Yeah. And then it's I think one of the few of the big cats that actually purrs. So it does
Yes.
vocalize
Mm.
if it's with you.
Yes.
Just a question, if I may, Laura. You're one of the Africa Safari Connection partners. How has this worked for you as a collective business networking marketing concept?
Yeah, I've come a long way with Jan Bester. We've been to many road shows abroad, in Cape Town, to WTMs and Indabas. And what is nice about the collective marketing strategy is marketing has become so expensive, and
Mm.
for a small establishment like myself, I can't afford to rent a 52,000 stand at Indaba for 4 days. I mean, it's just not viable for us.
Yeah.
So So with this combined strategy, you have that support, and so you can go for a lot less.
Yeah.
And it's worth our while. Absolutely, we work together. Jan often goes overseas and throughout the country to market the establishment, so we get a lot of exposure that we wouldn't otherwise have.
Yeah.
And also, having the time to do all of this, we have to welcome the guests and prepare dinner and clean the room. So there's not always time for us to do marketing trips. So that's why I've connected to Jan to help with that, to work together in that sense.
Now, if people want to come and stay on your farm, we've told them what, and they should be chomping at the bit. They should be sitting now with fingers on their keyboards going, it's time to come down. How do they find you, Laura? Ah, there we go. You come in and go, just keep talking because I can hear you and people can see you.
Sorry, can you just repeat that last sentence,
Sure.
David? I lost you there.
Not a problem. How do people find you? How do people make a booking?
So, okay, I think we're back again. I do apologize.
No, not a problem.
Let's try again.
Let's try again. Third time's the charm.
Yes, there we are.
Okay. So
okay, there we go.
How do people make a booking? This would happen just as we get to the crux of how people can actually.
Strange. The signal seems.
Yeah, I can see and hear you.
So yes.
So we'll ask the question once again. This is going to be fun. And Laura's gone. We'll try and get Laura back. But if you want to find out more about what it is that she does, why don't you? Here we go. Is Laura coming back to us? We'll hold on and maybe she can tell us how you find out more about her property and how you can book with her. Laura, there you go. Are you back with us? We just need to get your audio back. This is the problem. The up and down of modern technology is it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. But hey, at the end of the day, it's all good. We'll figure this one out. Your audio is still off, so we can't hear you. That's still down. Audio always seems to be a problem with these Zoom calls. But we've still got a few minutes, so we're not gonna chase Laura away just yet. She's going to look for that magic button that lets us hear her. There we go, and you're back.
Am I back?
Yes.
I pressed the right button. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
All right.
So we're back.
Okay. So the question was, yet again, I think this is the 5th or 6th time, but never mind. How do people book?
Okay, so it's very easy with the technology nowadays. Everybody's got a phone in their hand or a laptop in the office. So you can book us on any of those devices. You can search on Google, get to our own website, which is www.beluda.co.za. And you can just press one button and you are booked. We are all the portals out there, the booking portals that everybody knows. But so there's various ways to get to us. We've got WhatsApp numbers. We've got an email address on the website. You can just pop us a mail or a WhatsApp, and we'll get back to you within an hour or two and book your spot in one of our beautiful rooms or cottages.
Wonderful. Is there a good time? I know that you said earlier that Oudtshoorn has almost 365 days a year of excellent weather. Is there a good time, a good season or a bad season to book? No, we seem to be having an issue once again. We've been chatting to Laura Schoeman. She runs a property called Beluda down in Oudtshoorn. If you want to find out more about that, why don't you give her website a look, www.beluda, and you can pick it all up there. Once again, Laura, thank you so very much for joining me. I'm not going to put you through the whole, yes, we can, no, we can't, yes, we can, no, we can't. Thank you for being my guest here on Vibrant Africa. I'm David Batsoff, and until the next time, thanks for the visit.